Thank you all for being here. Many of you may have heard of Temu, T-E-M-U, the app that maybe a year ago was one of the most downloaded, if not the most downloaded app in the United States. But what you may not know about Temu is not simply an online marketplace. It is a data theft business that uses the online marketplace as a means to an end. And today, I'm here to announce that we are filing suit, and we have copies of the pleadings, guys. We are filing suit against the holding company of Temu. I don't have my glasses, but that's okay. We are filing suit against the holding company of Temu here in Arkansas in Cleveland County, and that will be filed shortly. If it's not filed, we can get you date-stamped copies. We are filing this suit for unjust enrichment, also under ADTPA, which is the Arkansas Deceptive Trade Practices Act, and the PIPA, which is the Personal Information Protection Act. So Temu is interesting because they're not just getting consumer-related data. They are able to take whatever they want using spyware and malware on your app. So the average American thinks that they're looking at a shopping app like any other shopping app. But Temu is actually not only taking your data that relates to the sales, they are taking all sorts of data. They have a code written to avoid detection. This malware, this spyware is made to survive a lot of the software that might rid your computer of it. It is purposefully designed. The code is purposefully designed to evade security review, such as anti-malware software. And what you may have seen, I don't know if you've seen Temu, but if you have, you may see these unbelievably low prices. And you may be thinking, how can they sell that so low? Because it's not their business. Their business is the data. As I indicated, the selling of the product, the marketplace, is a means to an end. The sensitive, personally identifiable information that they collect is accessible. They're collecting it from Arkansans. It's accessible by individuals and entities in China. This is a company run by former Communist Party officials. And it's worth noting that Temu has targeted young people, children. And you may remember that there was a Super Bowl commercial that specifically used animation this year, 2024, and as well as additional advertisements that immediately followed that game. So this is the sort of tactic that they're using. It was 2023, as I indicated, that Temu was the most downloaded app in the United States. Users were spending in 2023 almost twice the amount of time on the app than a platform like Amazon. And this is Temu. We are the first state to take this sort of action. I anticipate, I predict there will be many, many more. But we're not the first to take notice of these problems. In fact, in 2023, Apple suspended the Temu app from the Apple App Store for misrepresentations that they had made regarding the types of data that Temu can access or collect from users, including how it collects that data. And Google suspended not Temu, but Temu's predecessor from the Google App Store in 2023 because it contained malware. So just to sum up, we have a responsibility in this office. I have a responsibility to ensure that Arkansans' data is protected. And that's what this is about. It's worth noting that experts who have looked at Temu and their data collection, how they're doing it and what they're doing, indicate that what they collect goes far beyond normal consumer data, what is necessary for online shopping. Some examples of data that they are obtaining is biometric data, like your fingerprints, if they are on an electronic device, and also your location, your specific location. So there will be a lot more that we could talk about in this suit in the coming days, but I'm happy to take any questions.
What are other examples of the data that they're collecting?
You name it, they have access to it and are taking it. Your entire device is open for their perusal. In fact, I warned my staff yesterday that they should not be on this app, and they shouldn't even, not just on their official devices. They've got to beware of what can be happening. Now, we did not have, we asked, I was in a meeting here, and one of the individuals in our meeting said that his family had purchased a lot, and so we are sort of doing an assessment in the building to see who in the building, in our office, has been utilizing this, and just make sure they are fully forewarned that you are opening not your consumer behavior, not your browsing, scrolling behavior. You're opening your life to Temu through the data that they can and are accessing. And I can tell you, while we're the first, and I mentioned this, we're the first state to take this sort of action. If you Google or search Temu, you will find numerous accounts, numerous articles about all the problems. We just happen to be the first state to file suit. But the problems with Temu are well known, well documented in all sorts of publications, national, international, in particular. So we'll have more as this proceeds. But, and look, I'll say something else too. In the last few years, I think there has been an awareness, an increased awareness by Arkansans, sure, but nationally Americans about China, what China does, who China is and is becoming as a country, strategically what they're up to. I think that increased awareness is good. But I'm going to tell you that those of us who have been in the military or people in the foreign policy establishment, people who have been paying attention to China, this is not new. This is not some, as my kids would say, issue that's on trend. This is something that's been going on for a long, long time. And people who know about, have been following China's rise over the last few decades, have known for a long, long time that they're not just a competitive, they're just a competitor economically, that they are, they're up to no good. Militarily, they're up to no good in terms of a hegemon in the East. And there are a number of ways they're doing this, and data is part of that. You can talk about the military aspects of of the Paracel Islands, the Spratly Islands. These are manufactured, sort of man-made military outposts in the South China Sea. You could talk about the 9-dash line, which is on a map, literally 9 dashes of what they think is their domain in the South China Sea. You could talk about interference with freedom of passage. You could talk about area denial, anti-access, technology militarily. All of that has been under close, well, we've known for a long time that they're up to no good. The Belt Road Initiative and putting ports in parts of the world where you wonder why they're there. This data aspect, what does all that have to do with this? Everything. It's all part of a plan, of a pattern, and data plays a really big role in that. And this won't be the first. It won't be. It's not the first time the data has raised eyebrows. It's the first time a state has filed suit, and it won't be the last. This is something that we've got to be aware of. We all love getting on our phones and shopping, the convenience, etc. But we have to know everybody who represents themselves through our electronic devices are not our friends, and they're not our local businesses. And in fact, the brands that we trust can easily be confused with companies like Temu, and it's up to us, particularly in my role, when I learn of this, to do something about it. We've been looking at this for quite some time, but today we're filing suit.
Do you know what they do with the data? Are they selling it?
Well, they are. Yes, they're using it economically. What else they're doing? We hope to learn a lot more about that through this litigation. So we'll see.
What led you to start investigating Temu for deceptive trade practices, and how did you conclude that they were hit malware?
Information was brought to me that indicated this was impacting Arkansans, and we went from there.
A lot of times these are multi-state type things. Not this time. Why did Arkansas go alone this time? Do you think others would join in this lawsuit?
Yeah, so usually there are different ways that this plays out. Sometimes someone, an individual state, an individual AG will step out, and others will then follow and join together. Sometimes they start all at the same time, but often it will start with one. In this case, I wasn't interested in waiting on others. Sometimes the problem with the multi-state, if it's not a rush on something, then you can take your time and get other states and move together. The problem with that is you're not moving as quickly sometimes as I would like. And there are benefits to having a group of AGs, and nothing's stopping that. But sometimes you want to move quickly, and I've been wanting to move quickly on this. I think people internally will tell you, I ask about every 10 minutes, where are we on this? And so I wasn't willing to wait, but I think you're going to see a lot of different AGs jump in and follow suit.
Been in contact with other attorney generals and asked them?
I have talked to one yesterday. I've talked to, I'd say, several at some of our gatherings, but I didn't say, I'm going to wait on you, let me know when you're ready. Like the suit yesterday was Arkansas individually. So these are things that I wanted to move on, and I've wanted to move on them for some time, but happy to work with my colleagues who want to join in on stuff like this.
And this is say what you're seeking?
Injunctive relief and damages.
Why did you file this in Cleveland County?
We always think about where it's best to file suits to best serve the people of Arkansas, and that's what we chose.
So does that mean that you're hoping to shut down Temu?
What we want to do is we want to stop the sort of behavior. We want to get damages where necessary. We'll see. It's premature to have that conversation. But obviously, to the extent they're acting outside what online retailers normally do, we want all that stopped. The problem in this case is that's their business model. So, to ask Temu to stop doing that is sort of asking a dog to quit barking. I'm not sure they're going to do that.
I think a lot of people assume that these major tech companies, Amazon, Google, are already collecting their personal data, and so on. So what is Temu?
It's not what we're talking about, and that's the distinction here. There is data that you expect, consumer data, that you expect to be collected. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about malware. You're talking about spyware. We're talking about code that's written to evade detection. It's a whole, it is wholly separate and distinct from the pedestrian, ordinary sort of data collection that you're talking about. If it was the same as everybody else who are in compliance with the law, it wouldn't be in violation of the law. Okay? Thank y'all. Appreciate it.